Good evening and welcome to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and the Cowboys, they had a game last Sunday, 40-37 in an overtime thriller in their home opener against New York. It was wild, and joining me to talk about it, Colby Platt and Rohan Srinivasan. We're going to break it all down because that was a roller coaster of a game. I mean, you can't draw it up any wilder than that. The scriptwriters went crazy, I guess, but Colby, you and I were both there at that game. Just tell me a little bit about the atmosphere and what you saw from the Cowboys and Giants.
I have two words. What a game. What a game. The atmosphere was absolutely insane. And at some points it felt like it was a Giants home game just because of the crowd. I mean, in the entire game, you just had action all around. I mean, Kevontae Turpin finally getting a touchdown, his first touchdown of the season. I mean, everybody contributed for the Cowboys. The rushing contributed, the passing contributed, and it felt like there was not like a dull moment in this game. Javonte Williams breaking through, getting his third touchdown of the season, and where did he come from? I forget. Oh, the Denver Broncos. Javonte, come home. The kids miss you, I promise. But then again, the Giants would not go away. Cam Scadaboo, absolute dog mentality. It's like he wants to get CTE at points in the game. Like he just wants to just like go and just get hit by everybody on the field. He gets his first career touchdown at the 1 yard line. And this fourth quarter, by the way, absolutely insane. I mean, you have 5 consecutive go-ahead touchdowns. Miles Sanders gets his first touchdown of the season, puts the Cowboys back on top, 6 minutes left. And you're thinking, okay, if the Cowboys defense just get the stop, we're good. Russell Wilson with an absolute bomb to Wan'Dale Robinson to go back up in 3 minutes left in the fourth. Cowboys eventually drive back down the field, and George Pickens, he showed out all fourth quarter, had some amazing catches, finally gets his first touchdown of the season. A lot of first touchdowns of the season throughout this game. It just shows you just how much action was just in the fourth quarter, and we're not even done yet. You think when it's over, Russell Wilson, another bomb, 48 yards to Malik Neighbors to get that 5th consecutive go-ahead touchdown from both teams. Russell Wilson, 450 yards on the day, absolutely insane. He was too shy of his career record. And then you just think, okay, maybe it's over. But you drive to midfield, and this is a chip shot for Brandon Aubrey. 64-yarder to tie it and send it into overtime. I mean, this guy is insane. I mean, the leg on this guy is just like, this has to be inhumane. This is not human. Overtime goes the distance all 10 minutes, and yet again, you just rely on the leg of Brandon Aubrey to get the win. Russell Wilson with the costly interception at the end of overtime with little 2 minutes remaining. And once you get to midfield, it's like you can just rely on Brandon Aubrey from there. I mean, he might be able to kick it 85 yards. I would trust him if I was on my own 1 yard line. He's just that good. But what a game. I mean, Dak Prescott, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, 97 rushing yards. And I think player of the game just has to go to Brandon Aubrey. I mean, 4 for 4 on field goals, 4 for 4 on extra points. I mean, again, what a game.
And how did Brandon get into that position, a 14-yard Dak Prescott run to set them up and win the game? I think Sunday was the day, Stephen and Colby, that whenever you're an aspiring athlete or whenever you're a football player trying to try out or anything, you go to coach, you tell him, how'd you do? He goes, I don't think it goes well, man. I can only put you at kicker. Take it as a compliment because one day you could have as big of an impact as Brandon Aubrey does to the Dallas Cowboys. What a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Aubrey is my player of the game, is my player of the season so far. I mean, it was incredible. Everything that happened in that game. We'll talk more about the fourth quarter because, the amount of scoring in the fourth quarter and overtime, obviously just the chip shot at the end, but you took all 10 minutes. Brandon Aubrey, incredible. Brings you in. It felt like all hope was lost. 25 seconds were left in the game when the Giants got that touchdown to go ahead once again. Tell me a little more. You talked about it, Rohan. Driving down the field, 25 seconds. You got to give Dak and the offense credit for that too.
You have to give them credit, but the defense let us down, Steven. And it was on one of the plays that we just talked over. Stephon Diggs. Theo Johnson rolls over. He was next to the right tackle. Sorry, Trayvon. Trayvon Diggs. He goes out. He's next to the right tackle. He rolls out wide, right? He says, I got him. He does this, and he says, I got him. And he blows his coverage. He just goes right down the lane, and it's a touchdown to Robinson. So it's clearly that zone coverage isn't working, and they have to fix something.
Yep, both Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson way over 100 yards. They just burned both Trayvon Diggs and Kyer Elam, who was filling in for Deron Bland. They've definitely felt his presence not there. So, it was wild, obviously, but the fourth quarter, Russell Wilson, 450 yards in the game. It felt like most of that came in the fourth, but it speaks to the defense, right? The Cowboys' offense was clutch. Brandon Aubrey was clutch, but like you said, the defense, I mean, that just was not sustainable. They played all zone coverage, both in this game and in week 1. The Cowboys are the only team the entire season to play only zone. Not a single man-to-man look at all for Matt Eberflus.
But you have to know your personnel, right? What is Russ's biggest threat? The deep ball.
The deep ball.
It's just the deep ball. And I don't care if he's 40, he turned the clock back by 10 years, right? But his deep ball is his biggest threat. You have to know who you're playing.
Yeah, so Colby, tell me a little bit more about the defense. I mean, you can look pass rush. They're mostly ineffective. The secondary was obviously very, very struggling throughout that entire game, like we said. What to you is the most concerning part about the defense?
I mean, yes, you can point fingers at the secondary. I mean, I feel like that definitely is like the biggest like hole in this defense. But I mean, when you trade Micah Parsons, knowing that you're trading your best, honestly, probably best player on the team, you're going to realize, okay, this defense is going to give up points the entire season. I mean, and you can point fingers at the pass rush too, but I mean, the secondary is just the biggest problem right now. I feel like the pass rush, you know, we're stopping the run decently, which is what Jerry wants. I mean, we don't know what Jerry wants at this point, honestly, but Jerry wants it. I mean, Kenny Clark has filled in nicely. He's stopped the run like Jerry wants. I mean, oh my gosh.
Osa
Odigizua, what a mouthful. But I mean, I feel like they've done their part. And again, you can't just point fingers at one person on the defense. It's the whole defense as a whole. And you can point fingers at Eberflus too. I mean, this defense, don't expect them to show up at any point in the season. And if they do, expect it to be like at the most random point, like maybe week 7 or something. But for these first weeks, don't expect them to like step up. I mean, you can maybe count on Trayvon Diggs, but after his like phenomenal season in 21 and then he got injured, it's just tough for anyone on this defense to step up and just be the key piece that we need.
Do you know what would happen if we gone down 0-2, Steven? How many times that happened in franchise history? Take a guess.
Ooh,
7.
Wow.
7. It would have been the 8th time, and the last time we went 0-2 was 2010. What year did we end up making the playoffs? Only once out of the 7 years. 1993, ended up going 12-4 and winning the Super Bowl. That wasn't going to happen here. So glad we got the win. 1-1. You're on to Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely, and that makes a big difference. I want to expand a little bit more on the defense because mostly we said the secondary, they're hurt. Deron Bland obviously has been a big loss. Would you guys like to see them bring somebody in from outside, or do you think one of these internal guys can step up?
We all know Jerry Jones is like allergic to like doing any moves in the offseason. And then obviously he goes and signs like Jadeveon Clowney just out of nowhere. Literally as soon as the game ended.
10 minutes after.
10 minutes after the game ends, he just goes like, hey, we have Jadeveon Clowney now. Which, I mean, he may do something. He's kind of washed at this point. He's on his like journeyman throughout the entire league. Like, oh, I played a game for this team. I think he's just going to get kicked off and like see where he can go next. But again, like once Deron Bland comes back, like it's not just going to magically fix the defense at all. Like, yes, he'll like provide like his talents, but like he won't just magically just fix up the entire defense and become like a top 10 defense. And to your point, going down 0-2, going down 0-2 in both division games,
oh man,
that would have been absolutely terrible. We've been getting cooked. I mean, especially to the Giants. You can understand the Eagles, and I thought we still played a great game against the Eagles. But going down 0-2, especially in division games, would have just been absolutely terrible. But I feel like this win is definitely a morale boost a little bit. Expect us to go into Chicago just with a little bit better of a mindset than if we had lost this game.
Yeah, I believe that absolutely. I mean, it's just such a difference. I asked Dak Prescott after the game, what is the difference between 1-1 and 0-2? And he said, I don't know. I don't want to think about that reality. And fortunately, he kissed Brandon Aubrey on the head because he saved this season from going to 0-2. So you get the win. You mentioned Jadeveon Clowney. That's a big signing, maybe. I know.
I mean, he had 10 sacks, almost 10 sacks in 2023, 5 sacks in 24. If he can give us 5, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too because the edge rushers have been almost nothing, unfortunately.
Maybe if he can pull Russell Wilson and like transform back 10 years and go to like his prime Texans days, like that would be huge.
Yep.
I don't see that happening though, unless the medical staff has some sort of super serum that we don't know about.
But I think you're right, Stephen. We do need someone at corner. I know you wanted Stephon Gilmore for that, right?
Yeah, I would take it. I mean, I know Stephon Gilmore's still out there. Had him a couple years back, and I know he's not what he was either. Another one of these older vets, but you can't tell me that he wouldn't do a better job than Kaiir Elam did last week.
Because you need experience, Stephen. I mean, he's letting him go by the lane. What are you supposed to do at that point? That is not because of your speed. It's because of your experience. You were 5 yards late, and Trayvon Diggs couldn't get the route done. Yep,
that, and you got to switch up coverages. I mean, I don't mind the zone, cover 3, that's okay. You can't do it every time. I mean, clearly the Giants watched some film because they were flat in week 1.
Clearly not with 40 seconds left, Steven.
Yeah.
I mean, once you do something over and over, like, it's just going to get, like, just simple for the other team. Just be like, okay, now we know how to deal with this.
Just play prevent defense, to be honest with you.
But then you also had other opportunities, like when the Patriots released Jabril Peppers. You could have seen the Cowboys maybe go out and do something, but then again, we don't really do anything.
Unfortunately, and it just feels like the Giants were able to exploit that, and in the end, the Cowboys get the win. So it was a wild one. I wish we could talk more about it, but we got to move on to another crazy game and UNT football coming up right next.
Craving something fresh, flavorful, and made just for you? Look no further than Avesta, your go-to destination for a delicious, full-service dining experience. Dive into our customizable omelets, expertly crafted by our talented cook Jonathan, who guarantees every bite is perfection. All our dishes are handmade, prepared with only the freshest ingredients. Explore our assembly line where you can choose from any of our globally inspired dishes or customize your plate. It's that easy. And let's not forget dessert. Indulge your sweet tooth with treats from Clark Bakery. With convenient payment methods including card or flex, it's the perfect dining spot for any occasion. Quench your thirst with our wide selection of drinks. Just hand your drinking card to our friendly waiter and they'll bring your beverage of choice right to your table. When you're done savoring every last bite, our attentive staff will whisk away your tray. Enjoy the peaceful ambiance as you dine in, or use our takeout option for a meal on the go. Avesta.
Looking to open a free checking or savings account but don't know where to start? Check out DatQ Credit Union right here on campus. Get your Mean Green debit card instantly or apply for a DatQ Visa credit card today. Your school, your card. Plus, make deposits at their 24/7 ATM, checks or cash whenever you need it. Make sure to sign up for DatQ's online banking platform and mobile app for easy access anytime, anywhere. Visit them at www.datq.org to learn more. DatQ, the official financial institution of UNT Athletics.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm joined by Will Miller and Jay Del Mirales, and we're going to talk about UNT football. We just finished talking about the Cowboys. That was a wild game. This one was crazy, but for a different reason. UNT comes here at home against Washington State, a Power 5 team, if you want to call it that, the two-pack of what was the Pac-12, and they dominate 42-3, not final, at halftime. Will, tell me about that first half.
Well, Steven, I was there at the game. It was an eclectic scene up in Denton at DatQ Stadium. Perhaps, really the most lively in the few years that I've been watching UNT football, that I've seen the fan base as well as the team. Obviously, the Mean Green got off to a roaring start, and they were able to, defensively shut things down on all fronts. It was a really, top to bottom defensive performance from the secondary to the D-line to the linebacker core, and as offensively, we saw the running game really open up. 4 different running backs, having a day. Mackenzie McGill was bouncing off defenders left and right. Drew Mestemaker had an electric performance once again, uber efficient, 24 for 29. The Mean Green were really able to open up the playbook offensively. We saw Eric Morris, really diversified up with the air raid offense. Everything was clicking on all cylinders. The RPOs, the quick game. Even when Mestemaker was throwing over the middle of the field, that's something that he's excelled in through these first 3 games, and that's a big reason why we're 3-0 right now.
Yep, another flip toss over there. Saw that on the highlights. That was the second of 4 rushing touchdowns, and it was a balanced attack. Mestemaker also had 4 touchdowns throughout that game. I mean, I guess that's how you total 59 points. It was a wild one. 59-10 was the final, as we just keep watching through these highlights, because it was a first half clinic. By the defense. We just saw, I think, 2 turnovers so far. There were 5 in that first half as we keep watching. Here, you look at this one, fake. It's going, popped. Ball's out once again. That's another fumble. That was 2 of the forced fumbles, 2 recovered by UNT. This defense was incredible, and we talked about the defense as a weak point throughout last season. That was the whole thing. The offense was great, as we saw right here, but the defense just could not get it going. This year, we've seen both. We've seen the best of both worlds. The offense making touchdowns, making plays like this, and the defense getting those takeaways. Jadel, how have the Mean Green managed to put 2 and 2 together this year and now get off to a 3-0 start?
Absolutely. You can just see a lot of dominance from the trench, and yeah, big shout out to them for that huge early lead, 42-3. You didn't see that last year done by UNT, but I think this is a very well-rounded roster, and it wouldn't be a lie to say that the UNT football team right now is playing at SEC level.
Ooh, that's a hot take right there.
Yeah, that's a hot take.
And that 5 turnovers, it wasn't because they were a power 5. It wasn't because they sucked. I think it was our defense. It was UNT's defense that forced those 5 turnovers before halftime. It was 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. And yeah, it was like I was watching an SEC game. I think Drew Mestemaker is one of the nation's best quarterbacks.
Yeah, Mestemaker's been impressive this season. I wouldn't quite say SEC level yet. I don't know. I think, as a UNT fan, I've been here a few years. I don't want to kind of count my chickens before they hatch, but I'm very impressed with the 3-0 start. Mestemaker has come in and looked like one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. Chandler Morris, very solid last year. He ended up transferring. We lost him, but I mean, think about it. He comes in now with almost no experience. I mean, this is a guy that has not played since his freshman year of high school other than that bowl game last year, and now he's just been making it happen. Mestemaker has been incredible, and I'm going to throw it to you next, Will. Tell me about Drew this season and how he's been able to make this offense click.
Yeah, Steven. So obviously, it's extremely impressive for a guy, as you just mentioned, who had not started a game since being on the B team in his ninth grade year of high school, to come out against a really good Texas State Bobcats team last year. I mean, they almost took ASU. They almost beat ASU last year, and they were in the playoffs. And he almost wins that game. Looks really poised. I think the biggest thing with him, especially for a guy who hasn't, necessarily been a starter for as long as he has, doing a really good job stepping up in the pocket, delivering it, and getting himself on the run.
Yeah, and I think that just shows to what UNT's been able to do throughout the season. I mean, it's just been, I know it's only been 3 games, right? But it's been impressive what we've seen, Will. And just expanding on that a little bit more, the defense, 5 turnovers in that first half. What did you see from the secondary and the edge rushers forcing those fumbles?
Oh, no, for sure. Specifically with the secondary, we got a few returners there, and Evan Jackson and Quentin Hammonds, and they were locking up things down at the back end. This is far-fetched from the UNT teams that we've seen the last couple seasons, where they're getting gapped on big runs. They're getting toasted down the field, not able to stick in deep zone coverage. Obviously bringing in Skylar Cassidy, new defensive coordinator from Sam Houston. The Mean Green playing a 4-man front now. It just seems like they've tightened a lot of screws, especially with a lot of these transfer guys. And special shout out to Shane Witter. I think he was on Pro Football Focus's, all conference team of the week or whatever. And he had 8 tackles, 5 assisted tackles, a tackle for loss, and a pick. Transferred from OU. And, needless to say, the Mean Green actually have some, really high quality players, especially in that linebacking core. That's really what impressed me the most, and just the continuity there with Wisłowski and in the secondary. I think that's really helping this team, because obviously last year we had a lot of transfers, but this season we still had a ton of transfers, just given it is the NIL era. But I think that we have a lot more continuity on both sides of the ball. That's helped us a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a team, you talked about it, it's the NIL era. I mean, that's just the reality of teams like UNT. It's almost a new team every single year, and that's why you had some great weapons last season. And it was tough to lose them, but the way that they've come in and replaced them, both offensively and defensively, I give Skylar Cassidy a lot of credit for that. Jadel, what have you seen from all these players? Skylar Cassidy, especially with this defense, bringing in new, and now, hey, you're 3-0.
Yeah, I think I would agree with what he said. The transfer portal really changed everything right now. It's similar to what we see at TCU. Right now they're looking really good because they got a lot of players from LSU that transferred into their team. And I think something similar is happening, like what he said. And what I really liked about last game was really the 2 running backs that stole the show, Jaden Beck and Mackenzie McGill, with Beck scoring 2 touchdowns after a turnover. And of course, Evan Jackson as well. He really took that momentum and scored right away with the turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. Beck and McGill have been an incredible 1-2 punch at the running back position, and it's really just shown how diverse this offense can be. 4 rushing touchdowns and 4 passing touchdowns. I mean, that's something impressive. I don't care who you're playing, but I mean, let's just mention it one more time. This is Washington State. They're coming in 2-0. You know, this is not a slouch team. This is not Lamar anymore. This is a big-time win. Will, how much does it mean to beat this team that you were supposed to be, you know, in a close game with, blowing them out?
Yeah, I mean, just to have, I guess, a little bit of perspective, this Washington State team, I mean, they're playing in the, you know, actual Pac-12 just a couple years ago. Cam Ward was their starting quarterback, and then, you know, I think right before that or after, they had John Mateer, who, you know, now is a Heisman candidate at OU. They have a pretty storied program up there in Pullman, Washington. They definitely probably have a lot more pedigree than the Mean Green have built throughout our time here. You know, and they were coming into this game 2-0 as well, having, you know, beat San Diego State and somebody else. So it was really impressive that we were able to throw off a team of that caliber, because honestly, I wasn't even expecting it coming into the game whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a big-time win, and UNT, throughout it all, 3-0 to start the season. For the first time since 2018, they've had a 3-0 start. So UNT now going in on the road against Army. Yeah. This is a team that beat you in a grueling game last season. That was one of the most miserable games I've ever watched because of that, I call it Army crawl offense that they run. But now a chance to get revenge. Jadel, do you think the Mean Green can go in to West Point, move to 4-0?
Absolutely. Currently, we're the top team in the American Conference, so I think beating Army will be very easy, and then after that, South Alabama. I think what would really, you mentioned earlier that let's not count our eggs before they hatch, and I think what will make UNT an SEC caliber team is if they beat USF, because USF recently beat Florida. So if we beat USF, we might as well win against Georgia. So.
Okay, again, I gotta say slow down a little bit. I don't know about the SEC, but Will, talking about the American, how do you think UNT competes against the top American teams? There's 4 undefeated right now.
Right.
Where do you think UNT stands among them?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, obviously you've got some really competitive squads in Tulane, Navy, and Memphis, but I think that UNT is still going to be able to come in and, you know, have a really they have a path to be able to be at the top of the conference by the end of the year if, you know, everything goes well on both sides of the ball. They just need to be, you know, continue to be diligent.
Yep. It should be a great game versus Army, and I can't wait to see what UNT can do for the rest of the season. But now we're going to talk about a season coming to an end for the Texas Rangers, hopefully trying to find a playoff spot.
Ever happened to you?
My bike is gone.
Stolen bikes are an epidemic sweeping college campuses across America.
What am I supposed to do?
It's quite simple. The We Mean Green Fund has partnered with the UNT Police Department to offer free bike locks to any UNT student with a bike. Just show up with your bike in tow and ask.
Now I'll never lose my bike ever again.
Enough worrying. Get your bike lock today. Are you looking for a fun club with travel opportunities? Dive into the UNT Swim Club. Practicing Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Pole Recreation Center. We accept members at any skill level. For more information, reach out to us at unt.swimclub on Instagram.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and we're going to talk about the Texas Rangers. It's been a up and down season as a whole, but even these last few weeks have been pretty wild. So joining me to talk about it, Beth Spicer and Cooper Leday. And guys, the Rangers, I mean, they've been, I don't even know what the word for it, turbulent. These last few weeks, it's been crazy. Coming into last night, they won 6 out of their last 7 games. Unfortunately, they dropped the season opener to the Astros in the Silver Boot Series, the finale of it. And it's tough because you're right in a 3-way race with both the Astros and the Mariners trying to win the AL West. Beth, tell me what you saw from that game last night, and how can the Rangers get back on track in Houston?
I saw a
lot of mistakes last night. I saw us drop the ball on many occasions. That loss put us in a tie with Cleveland to have that wild card spot that we really need because the Astros right now, we're struggling and they're taking off. And so last night, the Astros started off strong, and they have tonight too. They already scored one in the bottom of the first, and we did not. And that 7th inning is what killed us, trying to run Jonah Heim when he's not a fast runner. When he's at third, he's not fast, but that's okay. He's a really good catcher, and that's all he needs to be. He doesn't need to be super fast. And and our number 3, number 5 in our lineup last night went 0-12 in batting, which is rough for the middle of the lineup that's supposed to be our power arms that are supposed to get our 1 and 2 around the bases. It's not looking good.
Yeah, it was a little bit tough. And Jonah Heim, like you said, he's great behind the plate, but the wheels, not quite there.
He's getting a little older, and that's okay. It's what happens. He's still a good catcher.
Yep, it's true. But obviously, it was a tough one for the Rangers. I mean, dropping this one 6-3 in Houston, and it's just so tough because the Rangers, they control their own destiny at this point. You're here with the Astros, with the Mariners as well. They're right up there, trying to not only squeeze out maybe a wild card, but maybe you push for the division. That's tough, losing that game 1. Cooper, how do they bounce back tonight, even though they're down early?
Honestly, I'd say just focus on some of their errors that they had. Like, that just allowed for them just to lose the game, especially with do not let Jonah Heim run to home at the end. Kind of just let him stay at third, and I just kind of focus on some of the pitching clerical errors that he had with Jack Leiter last night.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. Is Merrill Kelly pitching tonight?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. Hopefully, he had a great start last time. Hopefully, he can kind of keep that going, even though there was an early one. Trying to get back on track, give him some run support, hopefully. But I want to talk about that next because the Rangers, despite all the injuries of everything, we talked about starting pitching of already going down. That hurt a lot. But you guys, they lost Seager. They lost Semien. Garcia's finally coming back. Evan Carter's still out. You lost so many of your key players, and it felt like for a moment it was like, all right, this season maybe it's a wash. Maybe it's on to the next. But now these guys, the little rascals of the Texas Rangers, if you guys have heard that name, It is 4 young players that have really stepped up and just been incredible. And they've resurged this team. They've given life back in. Obviously, job's not finished yet, but just looking at them, Cody Freeman, Michael Hellman, Alejandro Ozuna, and Dustin Harris. These are guys that all of them started this season in AAA. They've worked their way up, and they've just found a way to bring this team back to life. Beth, tell me about these 4, and how much of an impact have they made trying to keep this team afloat and maybe even squeeze into the playoffs?
They kept this team alive.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, we can talk about Michael Hellman first. I mean, his average just in the last month, his batting average is .306. I mean, a high batting average with 6 runs during the last month. Without him, we would be sinking. We would be sinking really far and deep. And then Cody Freeman's been doing super well too with the 225 batting average with 10 runs this season. So between those two, they're holding up and they're keeping it alive, teaming up with Wyatt Langford. They're keeping this up, especially with losing Semien and Seager and Garcia all at the same time. We lost some of our 3 big hitters. We've had 3 more step up.
Yeah, they found a way. And I'll ask you, Cooper, how much of an impact have they made just being something different? Because Seager, Semien, Garcia, even before the injuries, I think there were some struggles. It just felt like the Rangers were just kind of stagnant throughout this season. And this, it was something different. It was a change-up, if you will, in talking about baseball. How did they find a way to surge life back in and maybe push this team to the top?
I think they kind of just added like a new kind of fire to the Rangers, especially Cody Freeman and Michael Hellman. I think they just definitely added a much-needed boost to the team, especially with some of the offense that was kind of lagging kind of during this little rough stretch that they had. And honestly, it's shown in the last like 18 games. It's really shown.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Now, I want to ask you guys a question. This is something that Rohan, one of our analysts, brought up last week, because you have these guys that have been incredible. They've really brought this team back to life. But now you're starting to introduce the veterans back again. Adolis Garcia returned a couple games ago. We're hoping we can see Semien and Seager eventually. But I want to ask you, Beth, how do you balance this? How do you adjust the lineup, bringing the veterans back while not kind of stepping on the momentum of the young guys?
Yeah, I definitely think a way to do that is having some of your younger guys step in as designated hitter for the night, especially with how good their batting averages have been. Giving your vets back their spots on the field, and, fielding. We need that defense, especially still. But with Adolis, it's been hard considering he's gone 0-8 on his batting since returning back from his injury. It's hard to want to put him back in the lineup considering he's not doing too hot. And it's kind of sad to see considering he was really impressive against the Astros during the World Series run 2 years ago. And so you just want to see that back in him. And we just haven't. And it's, I want to, and I need him back.
Yeah, it's tough, and you don't have to tell me twice. I mean, Adolis Garcia during that World Series, during that American League Championship, that's one of the greatest players I've ever watched play the game of baseball. I mean, it was just another level. And we just haven't really seen that since the World Series, unfortunately. Last season and this one just weren't quite playing up to his standards. Cooper, how does he and the other veterans find a way to merge with these young guys and maybe get that life back?
I think they kind of slowly try to transition them back, especially Adolis Garcia, typically known as the Astros killer. Not last night, though. But I think they try to slowly just try to transition them while also letting the young up-and-coming stars get their playing time and prove while they kept the Rangers in this playoff contention this last month.
Yeah, definitely. And so for the Rangers, you have now 2 games against the Astros left. And this is 2 games that are pivotal, I think, for the rest of the season. You don't have a lot of time left. This is where it matters, especially at head-to-head against Houston. This is where you need to catch up, make up that ground. You're a few games behind. Beth, in these 2 games, what do the Rangers need to do to find a way to win?
They need to get their batting up, because that's what we're struggling with is our batting. Considering last night we only scored 3 runs on the Astros and they scored 6, it is our batting, especially with having such big hitters as White Langford, Jake Berger, Josh Young, Michael Hellman, and Corey Freeman. I don't know what needs to happen with those 5, but they need to find a rhythm that works for all those to get our runs in, because our pitching we got a lot of injuries over there. We got a lot of injuries on pitching, and so there's not much we can really do on that side other than just have that offense come up and step up against the Astros.
Yeah, exactly. Cooper, who do you think, looking up and down this lineup, there's a lot of guys, and we've seen perform at times this season. There's just been these inconsistencies. Who do you look to step up in these final 2 games to try to get the Rangers a win?
Honestly, just the pitchers. Honestly, Merrill Kelly tonight.
Okay.
He's pretty good. I believe that he needs to set up while also allowing some of these younger players to continue to step up, like Cody Freeman and Michael Hellman, and also hopefully just like players that have kind of struggled recently, like Jock Peterson. Try to improve them as a designated hitter tonight, and just try to.
Yeah, for sure, and the pitchers are always important, and I just hope that some of these bats can get going, like you said, and I got to ask you to predict it. I mean, now just a few games left. Do you think the Rangers find a way to secure a wild card or maybe even a divisional win?
I think they can get a wild card spot if they win these next 2 games against the Astros. I think if we drop 1, I think we might be a little out, because considering we're down by 3 games with the Astros, and the Astros have such an easy schedule at the end. Their last 2 series are against the Athletic and the Angels, playing the last 2 of the division, and then ours are, the Marylands, the Twins, the Guardians, people I think we can beat, but definitely much harder to beat than the Athletic and the Angels. So I think they can do it if they can get to these next 2 games with the Astros.
Yeah, it's gonna be very important, especially that Guardian series at the end. I mean, just these close opponents with either the wild card or the divisional. I don't know how it's going to be. Cooper, do you think the Rangers find a way into the playoffs?
I do, because although the chances are against them, they have fought against the odds recently with this Gray last month, and I just think if they just continue to play how they did during this stretch, I think they can definitely secure that wild card spot.
All right, I certainly hope so, and it starts tonight. Make sure to check out that game. Hopefully the Rangers find a win against the Astros. But for now, we're going to move on and talk about San Antonio's fights last weekend and UFC Fight Night.
Why should you join Talons?
We are very welcoming to people who may be a little bit hesitant. There's people currently right now in our organization who are in leadership positions who were hesitant before to join, and they found out that they just loved the organization and wanted to be a bigger part of it. They post about the football games, everything they're doing, all their events that they host.
What's the best part about Talons?
I would say meeting new people, because the university, while it's a kind of small campus in terms of like physical land, there's a ton of people here. And so getting to meet all these people who have so much school spirit and love for this university and wants to spread that to other people, it's kind of like a little miniature family that we're in.
Willis Library, located at the University of North Texas. It has computers, printers, and the building is open 24/7. By going online, you can book up to an hour of reserved space and one of the many private study rooms. Many of them are equipped with whiteboards, a table, and a TV to hook up to your computer. Textbooks can be checked out for free with a student ID. They also have many of these in ebook forms. This is still a library, so always remember to be quiet and respectful of other surroundings, especially in certain places where talking is not allowed. For example, the 3rd and 4th floor are completely quiet. As As you can see, Willis Library has many options for students, with it offering many media sources and staying open all the time.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, joined by Zeke Rios and Jaden Crumpton. And we're going to talk about UFC Fight Night. It was an impressive one from San Antonio this past Saturday. And Zeke, you were there. So tell us a little bit just about the atmosphere at that fight and just everything that went down.
Man, it was Mexican Independence Day weekend. Everybody was there. They got, the whole town of San Antonio was there. Everybody from Dallas was there. Everybody from Houston was there. It was great. They pulled all the Texas fighters out, and they just put on a show. I mean, you couldn't even hear the bell between rounds at certain times because the crowd was just going crazy. It was awesome. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you were there. So, hey, you got a front row seat, basically. You got to break it down for us. Diego Lopez defeats Jean Silva, round 2 KO this time. So, Diego Lopez does get the win. We talked about it last week. How are you feeling about this one?
I'm really happy. I love Diego Lopez. If you don't love Diego Lopez, you don't love the UFC because he just put on a great show. I mean, like I said last week, it was pressure versus pressure. I mean, who was going to get there first? And Lopez always got there first. He crashes better. And he was in the deep water, and he was there before. He fought Volkanovski, made his debut against Movzar. And, yeah, he just looked like he had been in the deep waters before, and he swam.
Yeah, so Jaden, break it down a little bit as we see some of the video from our own Zeke Rios right there. Tell us about that Lopez fight and how did he get that round 2 KO against Silva?
So yeah, that first round, Lopez came out really strong. Silva looked nice too. He kept blasting that front kick that was getting through Lopez's guard, but then Lopez landed a big takedown, and I thought the fight might get finished in that first round. He cut Silva's head real bad with some big elbows, which maybe a little bit of foreshadowing there. And I scored that round for Lopez, as did the judges, all 3 of them. And then round 2, it looked like Silva was really getting his time. He started landing some big combos. Lopez ate some big shots. And then the momentum kind of swung again. Lopez scored another takedown, but Silva showed off his scrambling ability, got up, and then kept landing. And where the fight ended is Silva kept landing. He got greedy and started chasing a finish, and Lopez lured him in, and then hit him with that spinning back elbow that we've seen a lot recently in the UFC, oddly enough. He was pretty much out as soon as that hit, and then the ground and pound completely ended the fight.
Yeah, so round 2 KO, I mean, that's pretty quick. Like you said, that round 1, Lopez dominated as well. Zeke, breaking down that fight, how much do you think Lopez just kind of dominated this from the start? I felt like he got off to a strong one, and it seemed like Silva could never quite catch up.
Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, it just all comes down to the experience. I mean, Silva was loading up his hips. That back take that he got earlier, I mean, you could see Silva twitching his hips. I mean, anyone who has any experience fighting knows that when you see those telegraphs, you know what's coming. And he saw it, and he took his back and capitalized on it. And another thing that Silva does that's very clear is he likes to shake hands and make friends mid-fight. And yes, that's all fine and good, but if you notice, he does it when he's losing. Yeah. He does it to reset, get his center back in the ring, and it's like a hold-on timeout. Like, let's shake hands, let's make jokes. It looks like I'm calm and composed, but I'm actually losing right now. Yeah. And he did that a lot. And the first round, Lopez didn't bite on any of that friendship thing that Silva was offering him, and he just drove right through him. But in the second round, he was biting on those, shaking hands, laughing with him, and the second round was when he was starting to fall short a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, certainly. And for this, it goes beyond just this one fight because the Fighting Nerds we talked about a lot last week. Their team obviously lost 2 straight last week with Barrio and Rufy losing, and now Silva goes down. So basically 3 straight losses for the Fighting Nerds over the last 2 weekends. Jaden, what's next for this Brazilian team?
I will say this. I think for 3 out of the 4 of the Fighting Nerds, their losses are nothing to be ashamed of.
Okay.
Silva goes down to number 2 in his weight class, Lopez, who just fought for the title. Kyle Bahayo lost to Nasruddin Imavov, who's going to fight for the title next and has been the number 1 contender for a while. And then Carlos Prates is coming off a win. He lost to Ian Gary, who's a top welterweight, and then had an amazing knockout of Jeff Neal. I will say for Mauricio Rufy, getting dominated by Benoit Saint-Denis, who's at the bottom of the lightweight rankings, isn't a great look, but I mean, it's not, anything career-ending or anything like that. And for the Nerds, I think their future's still bright. I think when you come in and everyone on your team is undefeated in the UFC, you kind of set a very high standard. So one loss seems like a big deal. But in the reality of a UFC career, I mean, point me to a champion that's not an all-timer that doesn't have a loss when they're coming up, you know? So I think these guys all still have championship potential, and they're still a great team and really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And for the Fighting Nerds, Zeke, how do you think they find a way to bounce back? Obviously, you know, they kind of got to sit with this for a little while. How do you think they bounce back as a team?
It all just comes down to learning how to lose. I mean, you learn how to take a loss, and it's rough for a fighter to take an L for the first time because it all comes down to how do you adapt from this? They need to stop highlight hunting. That's all they do. They look for that big shot, that big finish, and that's what Silva was doing. And then he's just looking for his big finish, looking for his chance to bark at Diego Lopez, but he ended up barking up the wrong tree, and he got finished. And it just comes down to shaking it off, connect with your team. Silva said after the fight that he was not connected with his team, and it was noticeable. He let his emotions eat at him too much, and it just comes down to learning how to get out of these tough positions and just move forward.
Yep, it was a rough one for the Fighting Nerds. A big one for Diego Lopez, though. I mean, it's going to be exciting to see what he does next. But moving through the rest of Fight Night, David Martinez defeated Rob Font in a round 3 decision. That one went a little bit deeper in decision, obviously. So, Zeke, tell me about that fight and what you see throughout.
That fight was very interesting. David Martinez took the fight on short notice, obviously. Raul Rosas Jr. hurt his rib and was out. I was a little disappointed. I really wanted to see him. That would have been fun. Rob Font, very established, very good contender. He went toe-to-toe with Jose Aldo back in the day, but he just wasn't there that night, and it was kind of strange. I was a little shocked. Bantamweight was the division that everybody tuned in for. I mean, you saw Piotr Jan just go toe-to-toe with Sanhagen and stuff like that, but then Martinez comes out of nowhere and puts Rob Font out like that. It was just crazy. His cardio was insane. He looked good in the first round, and then in the second round, he was tired pulling at his shorts, like looking for air. And then all of a sudden, out of the third round, I don't know what his breathing technique was, but he was back to 100%, just putting it on Rob Font, and I was shocked. I had no idea where that came from.
Yeah, it was impressive finding a way to go deep in the fight, and that's always a challenge, like you said, with the breathing. Everything that goes into that it's key. So I'll ask you, Jaden Martinez finds a way to get the win over Font. What did you see from him throughout that long fight?
Yeah, so the first 2 rounds, like you said, it was more back and forth. It wasn't really clear who's going to come out of that fight. And of course, going into it, Martinez was a big underdog, right? Rob Font is a ring contender, like he said. Martinez took the fight on short notice, and he has 1 fight in the UFC prior. So it was kind of a throwaway fight in everyone's eyes. And then Martinez, in a classic underdog story, digs deep in the final moments. He got the knockdown in the last 10 seconds of the fight. I mean, that's just, honestly, not to be cliche, but that's heart, right?
Yeah.
That's digging deep, knowing you're the underdog, and still finding the gas to push full throttle to the end.
Yeah, it was impressive for Martinez, especially against a fighter like Rob Font. But I want to talk about the one last fight before we move on to some preview. Rafa Garcia defeated Jared Gordon in a round 3 KO. So I'll let you start us off this time, Jaden. What did you see from that fight?
So, yeah, that's a great lightweight bout. Jared Gordon is kind of a big name. He's a bit infamous for his fight with Paddy Pimblett. That was controversial. Of course, people think Jared Gordon won. Paddy Pimblett is the one who got the decision. So Jared Gordon was kind of a favorite going into this. And then the first 2 rounds, like the Martinez fight, back and forth. And then in round 3, they started standing and trading, and Rafa Garcia landed the big shot. Gordon kind of walked into a straight right hand, dropped to the ground. It looked like he was going to get subbed, and then he just got finished with the ground and pound. I think Gordon's boxing looked good in this fight, but I think what really caused him to lose was the speed disadvantage he had against Garcia. Garcia looked faster, and, he was landing more because he just had more opportunities in the exchanges. His punches were getting out quicker, and that's what led to them, when they stood and traded, that's what led to Gordon getting caught.
Yeah, speed kills. What do you see from Garcia, Zeke, in that, especially in the round 3 KO?
Oddly enough, every UFC event I go to live, Garcia has fought on the card.
Really?
So
okay.
It's so interesting. I feel connected to this fighter in some way. And he just, every time I watch him fight, I know it's going to be good. He just doesn't quit. And I think that was key in this fight. Like you said, Jared Gordon was in the pocket, and he was just slow. And I was like, how did Paddy Pimblett lose to this guy? Like, he was just very slow. Garcia just didn't want to give up, and I was just shocked that that's what happened. But Gordon did say that he sprained his MCL. He got hit by a car.
Hey.
Yeah.
Really? Hey, so there's a storyline for you too, but we'll see how they bounce back. But we're going to go into our final block and talk about some of the greatest sports games we've ever watched.
The do's and don'ts of the Pole Rec Center. See that man over there? Please do not hog weights. Instead, do this. Another important part is having an attentive spotter. See, here is an example of a non-attentive spotter. Instead, do this. Now we head to the track, which should be pretty easy, just it's important to pay attention to the way the track goes. Remember to wipe down the equipment after you're done using it. The towels are provided by the gym, so it's pretty easy to wipe down the equipment when you are done. Thank you for using the Pole Recreation Center.
Hey, are you here for the premiere? Come take a sneak peek with us.
Stop. No.
Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm joined by Josh Ortega and Nick Volpetti. And guys, we're going to talk about a special topic tonight. We're going to say, all our greatest games. So, just looking at this season so far, it's been a wild one. You look at the NFL, the MLB is kind of getting towards an end, but we've seen some crazy games, college football as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it just got me thinking, what are some of the greatest games we've ever seen? We've been around for long enough now, right? So I want to talk about in-person first, and then we'll get to TV a little later. So, Nick, I'll start you off. Now, going in, this is in person. What's one of the greatest games you've ever witnessed?
All right, so first I'll start off by talking about when I went to the Dodgers versus Braves NLCS in 2020. It was like one of the first times that anybody was able to go in person to a sporting event after COVID. Yeah. So it was really cool. They brought the series to Texas because of the laws. They were allowing fans into the building, a limited number, but it was still a pretty good amount of fans in Globe Life Field. So it was really fun to be there. And the Dodgers, they put up 11 runs in the first inning. It was crazy. The Braves went into that series, or into that game, up 2-0 in the series, and it was a game the Dodgers needed to win, and they came out and they put up 11. And it was a big game because they ended up losing Game 4, and they went on to win Games 5, 6, and 7. So if 6, 7, if they, but if they hadn't won that Game 3 that I was at, then they would have lost the series. So it ended up being a crucial game, and it was just a lot of fun to be there and see them put up 11 after being locked in our houses for months on end. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's a great one, and the story behind it too. Bro, during COVID, I was happy to go anywhere. I remember one time we went to a furniture store, and that was exciting. But I think that beats it. So it was interesting. I was a little jealous as a Rangers fan because Rangers didn't even get to open Globe Life Field. It was the playoffs that got to do it, but that's definitely a cool memory nonetheless. Josh, I'll go to you next. In person, what's one of your favorites?
One of my favorite games actually kind of happened almost a year ago now. Well, it was in December, but not really a year ago. But it kind of ties into this week. The Chargers are hosting the Broncos in LA, in SoFi. And it's funny because I have my childhood friends who I play fantasy football with, right? Okay. It took us forever to get a fantasy football outing, right? So we all got together. We all went to a game. We went to this game versus the Broncos, Thursday Night Football on December 19th. It was an absolute classic. I combined 61 points by both teams, both at 350 yards or more on the ground. A phenomenal game. I had a 50-year-old rule get implemented with Cameron Dicker and his 50-yard free kick, which, by the way, for a crowd that has ingested alcohol and everything, for that rule to be put into that game, it was unbelievable. Some people were sitting there saying, oh, it's a 70-yard field goal after Demarais Davis gets fouled on a play. It was like, dude, guys, it's not 70 yards. You can clearly see it was at halfway. Come on. But it was a great atmosphere, overall fun game. Josh Palmer had this really nice catch for a 2-point conversion that I remember really cool because on the sideline it was kind of back in the end zone, he fumbled it and then he just caught it. It was phenomenal, a little toe tap, but that was one of my favorite games.
Yeah, definitely, that's a great one. And for my first one, I'm gonna take us way, way back to Sunday. So just a couple days back. Shout out Renee taking me to that Cowboys game. It was incredible. It's one of the wildest games I've ever witnessed. Yeah. The first half was kind of slow. We talked about it earlier. And then that fourth quarter, I mean, insanity. You have Russell Wilson throwing bombs. He threw for 450. The Cowboys, I mean, trying to find a way. They kept coming back. And then Brandon Aubrey, my GOAT, I had the privilege to meet him this summer. Thank you, Brandon, truly, for saving my sanity, making those incredible kicks. So I know that's a recent one, but that was truly one of the most special games I've ever seen. So, Nick, keep us going.
Next, I'm going to talk about when I went to a game at the very end of the Stars season in 2022 when they took on the Vegas Golden Knights. It was a really close game. The Stars were down 2-1 going into the third, and they ended up tying it and making it 2-2. Keep in mind, this was a game that both teams really needed to win. They were both fighting for a wild card spot at the end of the season, and it went to an overtime at 2-2, and then it went to a shootout. And in the first round, no one scored. Second round, no one scored. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth round, no goals in the shootout. It just kept going and going and going. And then finally, Miro Heiskanen stepped up and scored, and the Stars made the save right after that, and they won. And they ended up making the playoffs, had a great 7-game series against the Calgary Flames, they unfortunately lost. But, I mean, it was an incredible atmosphere at the American Airlines Center. I mean, everybody was going nuts when they won that game because it was kind of like them stepping their ticket to the playoffs. I think it was the third to last game that season. So, yeah, it was an incredible experience, and it was kind of good to stick it to Vegas because they missed the playoffs after that too. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a great one. Some revenge there against the Golden Knights. I love it. That's a really good pick. Man, I wish I could have been at that game. That was a good one.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Josh, keep us going.
I'm not topping that, but for me, one of my favorite in-person games comes back in 2016. What was the golden year of really for everybody?
Yes.
Some people. But
2016.
for me, it was the LA Galaxy drawing 2-2 with the New York Red Bulls. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how in God's green earth is a 2-2 tie going to be the best game that I've ever been to? Well, I'll tell you, both teams were top of the East and the West. They were really top four. The Galaxy were kind of in a weird transition period. They had won the MLS Cup 2 years before. They had Robbie Keane, they had Steven Gerrard, who was well past his prime, but he was in LA. Ashley Cole, Yella Van Dam, and my guy Gio Dos Santos, who I modeled my game after as a middle school soccer player, so I just tried to be like him. But the Galaxy went down 2-0 in the 70th minute, which in soccer is like death. Like, you're about to lose. Like, you're done. Like, there's no way you're coming back from 2-0. They ended up scoring in the 75th, and Ashley Cole hit a 90th minute winner in the dying seconds of that game. The crowd went absolutely crazy, and so that was one of my earliest memories going to a Galaxy game, going to my hometown club and just enjoying it. So it was a ton of fun.
That's clutch. That's amazing. And it's those games that it's just, I don't know, they're special. They stick with you for sure. So I love that. This one's special to me. It happened a few years back right here at UNT. UNT taking on the SMU Mustangs, UNT basketball. We broke the student attendance record in that game. It was a wild one. UNT and SMU went back and forth all game long. SMU had a chance. 3-point game winner. Clunk, it missed. Thank goodness it did. So it was wild. We got to storm the court. I mean, that was truly one of my favorite memories as a UNT student because you got that storm the court experience against a big rival in SMU. That's truly one I will never forget. So that was a great one. And now I want to talk about some games that we didn't get to go to, but we saw on TV because we've had a lot of special ones. Josh, I'll let you start us off this time.
I'm going to go with Kobe's last game. Look, this was a sorry Lakers team. I mean, they were 17-65 Kobe's last year. They were awful. 12-29 at home. Right? There was a bunch of media, obviously, because it was kind of like the farewell tour. It was the end of Kobe. We all knew it. Growing up in LA, all I knew was Kobe. All I knew was Kobe with the Lakers. So it was definitely a weird era. It was my freshman year of high school. I remember watching it on TV in my house, and I remember they were down 57-42 at halftime. I thought they were going to lose. I'm like, what a way for Kobe to go. Only the Lakers could go out with Kobe, losing in his final game. Dropped 60 points at the end of his final game. I mean, it was unbelievable. He literally was getting the ball, not passing, shooting from anywhere, from deep, from layup, jumpers, you name it, he was there. So Kobe's last game for me is just so special.
Yep, that's a great one. I mean, timeless.
Really, really.
Kobe. He just found a way he found a way in that game, and that was a special one. Nick, take us to yours.
I got to make a biased pick. I'm a big Patriots fan. I'm going to go with the 28-3 comeback.
Oh, man.
I remember after Tom Brady threw that pick six, and it was 21-0 Atlanta, I was like, what is going on? Like what is happening? This was a game that was supposed to be close to the end. It was supposed to be, back and forth. Falcons were kind of a team that had been surprisingly really good in the NFC that year, and the Patriots were, of course, trying to maintain their dominance. And it looked like it was going to be a complete blowout. Yeah. And then it kept going. It was 28-3, of course, nearing the end of the third quarter. And then the Patriots scored. They missed the extra point. It was 28-9. And then after that, the Falcons just collapsed. I remember they had a big pass over the top to Julio Jones, and he made that catch. They were at the 22-yard line. And even after the Patriots had come back to making it 28-20, I thought that was it. And then they got a holding penalty and sack, and they took themselves out of field goal range, and they had to punt. And then the Patriots came back and scored, and of course they won it in overtime. So, I mean, The Patriots got a little bit lucky in that one, but they also made some incredible plays. I remember that Julian Edelman catch where it seemed like
that catch
I don't know
was so
how.
ridiculous.
I still to this day
it's a
I do not know
ridiculous catch.
how he made that catch.
Yeah, I'm not a Patriots fan, but
It's
I
a
respect that
ridiculous
pick. I
catch.
mean, I remember I stopped watching that game because I was like, I was watching.
I was
and
almost there too.
I was on my phone. I was like, okay. I mean, unfortunately, this one not a great Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden, all-time classic. So I'm going to keep it with 2016. Talk Cowboys-Steelers regular season game.
Oh.
That is one of the greatest regular season games. If there's just a classic matchup, you got the Cowboys of 2016, Dak, Zeke, Dez, against the triplets of the Steelers in Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and Big Ben Roethlisberger. It was a wild one. I mean, Zeke with that screen, incredible game, just back and forth. And then in the end, that run up the middle, straight through the Great Wall of Dallas for an incredible early season win. 2016, that was peak Cowboys for me. That was one of my favorites. So I was really happy to see that one. Josh, I'll let you keep us going real quick. What's your last one?
LSU Clemson 2020 National Championship. I mean, the greatest college football team ever assembled. Joe Burrow passed for 400 yards.
Yes.
400 yards.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
That was one of the greatest and one of the greatest teams I've ever seen. LSU, man, I'm so sad for Joe Burrow getting hurt.
No, absolutely.
Hopefully,
Terrible.
praying for his recovery, but man, that was those special times, special games. So thank you guys all for watching us tonight. I think this was a pretty special show, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Make sure to follow us on our socials. Get all the behind-the-scenes content at NTTV Sports. Make sure to stay tuned for SportsZone on Thursday as they have their show coming up later this week. And finally, next week we will be right back here on Tuesday. So make sure to see us on SportsZone.